Today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing rational expressions. And as we go to do this, it'll be important to understand that this is the same as we've been doing, and it's the same as we've done with fractions before. And so just to make sure we remember, if we had 5/6 times 7/10, some stuff that we did before, since this is just multiplying across the top, multiplying across the bottom, if there are things that are on top and on bottom that can be simplified. So like 5/6, if there was something that went into both of them, I could simplify those. 7/10, if there's something that would go into both of them, I could simplify those. But I can also, because this is multiplication, I can also cross simplify as well. And so 5 goes into 5 one time, 5 goes into 10 two times. I can multiply across the top. 1 times 7 is 7, 6 times 2 is 12, and I get my answer. We're going to do the same thing over here. Now, as I look at this one, the first step we're going to have with this, since it is just multiplication, is we need to look to see if there's anything I can do to factor this or write it in simplest form. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go through, I have x squared plus 4x plus 4. I want to factor that out. And so when I do that, I got x, I'm going to try 2 and 2. Let's check it out. 2x and 2x, this is plus, so I'm adding them up. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's the number I'm looking for. I want a positive 4, so I know this is plus and that this is plus. So I have x plus 2 times x plus 2. Now I have x plus 2 up here as well, and so what you're going to see is, just like over here, I could cross simplify. I can do the same thing over here. This is just multiplying across the top, multiplying across the bottom. So when I have the same thing on the diagonals, that's just like having the same thing on top and bottom. Those cancel out. Here I have an x. Here I have x squared. So I can actually take one of those away because they both have at least one x. So now I have an x left. I had 8 and 2. 2 goes into here one time. 2 goes into here 4 times. Now let's look around to see if there's anything else I can simplify. It doesn't look like there is, so now I can write my answer. When you write your answer, remember that multiplying fractions are our friend. We just multiply across the top, that's 4. Multiply across the bottom, that's x times x plus 2. Now I like to leave it simplified like this because if they did ask me for where it was undefined, I could easily see then that it's going to be undefined at 0 and it's going to be undefined at -2. And so go ahead and leave your answers like this. Do not distribute that in there. Leave it written out like this. Now we're going to do division today as well. When you do division, kids always get worked up about division. Remember that dividing is really just multiplying by the reciprocal. And so when I see that division symbol, all it means is I have a step at the beginning that I need to do. So if I'm taking 5/6 and I'm trying to divide it by 2/3, really that's the same as taking 5/6 and multiplying. So dividing by 2/3 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Once I have the reciprocal on there, it's the same rules I had before. 3 goes in here one time, goes into here 2 times, multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, 5/4. Over here then, same thing. Before you ever do any simplifying, do not simplify first. There are no rules for simplifying with division here. And so I would go ahead and get rid of the division right away. And that's a 4, by the way, x to the 4th. So instead of dividing by 5 over x times x minus 3, I'm going to multiply by, and then I'm just flipping it around. Now, as I go through here and trying to simplify, now I look to see if there's anything I can reduce. And as I look here, there is something I can reduce here. Look at 3x cubed minus x to the 4th. They both have at least 3 x's in there. So I can pull out that x cubed and just have, I can just have then maybe x cubed times 3 minus x. On top I still have the x plus 1, and I'm multiplying that by x times x minus 3 over 5. Now I know this x is going to cancel out to just be 1. That's going to cancel out with one of these, so I have one less. Now I have x squared. This is part of it adding here, and so I cannot cancel anything there. I look over here. It looks like these look a lot alike right here. Remember that if they are exactly the opposite, I can pull out a -1. And so as I look at this, I have a +3, -3. Negative x, positive x. They are exactly the opposite. So what I can do is pull out a negative. When I pull that negative out, I can rewrite that with opposite signs. The opposite of negative x is positive x. The opposite of +3 is -3. And what that allows me to do, I pulled that -1 out. X minus 3, x minus 3, they cancel out now. Getting messy. Whenever it gets messy, go ahead and simplify by just writing your product here. So x plus 1 times 1, That's just x plus 1. Negative x squared times 5, that's going to be negative 5x squared. Now, looking at this, I do want to take a final look and make sure I can't simplify it any farther. The x and the x squared is tempting, but this is part of an adding problem. This is part of a sum. I do not want to cancel out when it's part of a sum. If I can cancel it, that means I could pull out x to the front and have a product, and that's not the situation here. So when you divide here, remember, get rid of the division right away. So go through, change dividing to multiplying by the reciprocal, so just flip it around. Then look to see if there's anything you can factor or simplify. Once you factor or simplified, cancel out anything that you can cancel out. Continue simplifying all the way till the end. Check your answer at the end to make sure there's nothing more you can do, and then you are done. That is multiplying and dividing rational expressions. I am going to leave you with a little bit of a joke here. And if you think about bacon, now everybody loves bacon. That's the thing. And so everyone loves bacon. So it's, you know, if you talk about who loves bacon, you know, everyone loves bacon. But the question I have for you is, who loves hot chocolate? Who loves to have cocoa? Well, I'll tell you who loves cocoa. Coconut. We'll talk to you later, guys. Have a great night.